Say, man, you see my crab cakes? Till I'm all alone. If you see my crab cakes, tell her things went wrong. Don't call on the phone and bring a black dog home. A little tartar too. Come on, little girl, tell me what you want to do. Them Maryland crab cakes are the best in town. Them Maryland crab cakes are the best in town. So come on, baby, let's get Louisiana down. If you see my crab cake, have you seen my crab cake? If you see my crab cake, tell I'm all alone. Tell her I still love her, and when she come back home.
Time for Talkin' Boxing with Billy C. It began as a podcast, went live on the net, and transformed into a full-blown empire. Across the web, on Fight Now TV, and on radio stations around the world. It's the only daily boxing talk radio show on the planet, hosted by the only guy with the balls to do it. Many have stepped into the ring. Many have tried to take the belt. And one by one, they've fallen. Another victim of the undisputed heavyweight champion of boxing talk radio. Talkin' Boxing with Billy C. is on now.
My style is impetuous, my defense is impregnable, and I'm just ferocious. I want your heart.
And we're coming to you live from the Billy C studio in Lake George, New York. I'm Bill Calogero, and it's time for Talking Boxing with Billy C. Good morning, good day, good evening, whenever you listen. Hope you're doing all right. Don't forget the show's being brought to you in part by Cat's Nationwide Luxury Transportation Service. If you're looking for a limousine, you're someplace in the U.S. of A., then you need to give my girl Cat a call. That's 202-351-7496. Cat's Nationwide Luxury Transportation Service is the official limousine service of this year's Billy C. Boxing Hall of Fame induction weekend gathering, which is scheduled for November 16th, 17th, and 18th. Make your plans now. Visit the website, www.billycboxing.com. Just click one of the Billy C. Boxing Hall of Fame banners that's on the page. Just click that, and that'll give you the latest information. And just don't forget Cat's Nationwide Luxury Transportation Service. If you need that limo, you only need one, and that's Cat. Just remember, she's my girl. 202-351-7496. That's 202-351-7496. The show's also being brought to you in part by Campanaro and Tomkovich. If you're looking for a lawyer, use the ones that keep me out of trouble. That's Campanaro and Tomkovich, whether you're looking for real estate law or matrimonial issues. I don't know, man. You have some paperwork you need filed. Maybe you're buying a house. Maybe you're selling a house. Maybe you want to change your will to leave everything to me. You need to call Campanaro and Tomkovich, 845-221-4099. And don't forget, tell them Billy C sent you and that I'm going to pick up the consultation fee. They love it when they hear that. 845-22, because they know they're not going to get any money out of me. 845-221-4099 is how you can get a hold of them. And my friends over at the Halftime Bar and Grill, Route 9, South Glens Falls. Check it out. Big screen TVs everywhere. The outdoor section of the facility is open, so there's always stuff going on. Drink specials, great people to hang out. Halftime Bar and Grill. Give them a call ahead if you want to make a reservation for dinner. 518-792-4869. And speaking of dinner, whenever you go there, you never know what's going to happen. Like last week, they broke out a fish fry. Yeah, let's break out the fish fry. And they started giving away, I guess for hours upon hours, all the fish you could eat. So 518-792-4869, Halftime Bar and Grill. And the show is also being brought to you in part today by the May 12th event. It's going to be for the IFBA World Welterweight Championship. Chevelle Fist of Steel Halbach is going up against Terry the Road Warrior Blair in this world title event. You can check it out live. I'm going to be calling the action beginning 7 p.m. Eastern Time, May 12th, right on LDL TV. You could check out our website, www.billycboxing.com. Click the Tampa Bay Boxing fight poster. It's right there on the front page. Click that for all the other information. Chevelle Fist of Steel Halbach against Terry Road Warrior Blair, May 12th in Tampa. Check out our website, www.billycboxing.com for the latest information on that. Scheduled to join us a little later on the show, we have a couple of world champions. That's right, a couple of former world champions. And one of the two is ready to get another shot at his title. His old title, he's going to get a shot back. First, we're going to chat with former champion Billy the Kid Irwin, who's currently training some young fighters out of Canada. And then we're going to switch gears and talk with Cory Spinks. That's right, former multi-division champion. And he's trying to get his junior middleweight title back from K9 Bundridge, Cornelius K9 Bundridge, coming up in June. So we'll be talking to both those guys a little bit later on the show. Also scheduled to join us today, later on, is the woman herself, the champion of our women's boxing discussions, and that's Amy Green. She's going to be joining us a little bit later on the show. Well, what we've been doing for the last several weeks, months, whatever, is we go through the mailbag and see how many emails we got, and we comment on them. Now, I will say this, generally we get several on Floyd Mayweather. The guy just can't stay out of our show. I mean, talk about a plague, right? But hey, nonetheless, I should say, not less. Nonetheless, I mean, the lusting I have for the female persuasion. But we got a mailbag from Brandon, and he says, can't wait for Billy the Kid Irwin to be on your show. He taught me so much and helped me train me for my first fight. And even though I lost, he helped me find confidence in myself I never knew I had. He recently has had a lot of success with his fighters, and he's finally getting the credit he deserves. Him and his brother are very knowledgeable, and I could see a very promising future for them, especially with the fighters they have. Thanks for having them on. I appreciate it. Hey, man, thank you for thanking us. We appreciate you taking the time. And you know something? I know the deal. Like a lot of people that listen to the show, I don't know what the involvement is. I don't know how extensive you want to get your involvement. Some people just listen and curse and yell at me and turn me off, then turn me back on. I don't know, man. But I really appreciate everyone that takes the time to drop us an email. We try to respond to every single one of them. If we're doing something right, let us know. If we're doing something wrong, let us know. I mean, we aim to be the top in this business for a very long time. Even though I'm an old man, we're going to be hanging around a long time. There's a lot of catching up to do for any other show that is starting out now. So I wish you well. The next mailbag we got is from my main man. That's right. We wouldn't have a show without giving quality. He's got a couple of them. And first of all, he wants to. Again, this guy's worse than me, man. I mean, given quality, you must be Italian or something because you always got to have the last word, and damn it, I'm going to have the last word. He says, you're assuming that I mean black only. And this is a response to me kind of getting uptight with him constantly saying about, well, not constantly, he said it a couple of times, but about Manny Pacquiao against slick U.S. black fighters, or the way it was worded was slick black U.S. fighters. And he says, you're assuming I mean black only. Well, that's what you said. You put that in there. I'm just making the true case in point since he has avoided those U.S. black slick fighters his entire career. Any slick boxer Pacquiao will have trouble with and probably lose to. Are you happy now? Yeah, I just want to make the point that, yes, we're all proud of our heritage and stuff here in the United States, quality. I mean, we're all proud of it. I tell everybody I'm Italian, but what comes first? We're Americans, and that's something that everyone that lives in this country, well, let me rephrase it, everyone that's been born in this country, it's one thing that we're all proud of, man, and we need to stick together. And, I don't have a problem with your opinion at all. You think that Manny Pacquiao can't fight a slick black fighter or a slick fighter in general. I'm cool with that, and Lord knows you've shown me enough video to back up your why you feel that way. I just get a hang up. I just have a hang up when when it's focused on just the black guys, I mean, come on, man, but anyway, I'm glad you said that, but I understand your point. And I know he did. Listen, for anyone in that thinks that given quality is the first one saying this, no, he's just repeating what has been said, and he did not bring out, he did not emphasize black. He wasn't the first one to say that. Slick U.S. black fighters is what people have said in the past. But I can see his point about a slick fighter, especially a U.S. fighter, and the reason why is because U.S. training techniques are slightly different than European and obviously other countries as well. I think we're more technically, and listen, I'm not trying to pat ourselves on the back here in the U.S., but we're more technically sound. We focus more on the sweet science and a little bit of excitement too. So, I can understand given quality's point about Manny Pacquiao against slick fighters. I mean, Juan Manuel Marquez didn't look so great, in my opinion, in his last fight the other night, but when he fights Manny Pacquiao, he seems too slick for Manny, but any event. He goes on to say, you can't neglect the U.S. black slick fighter point since he doesn't have just one on his resume. Hall of Fame fighters, except the protected ones from way back in the day, all have all types of fighters on their resume. When you say Floyd Mayweather Jr., think dominance like no other great at everything, man. Blah, blah, blah. It makes me sick every time you put this guy. Listen, I can't believe that you're so critical of Manny Pacquiao. Can't fight a slick fighter. Can't fight a slick black fighter. Here, look, he hasn't changed. He hasn't made any adjustments in 36 rounds against Juan Manuel Marquez. He hasn't made any adjustments. Neither his trainer. Blah 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 blah. And then you have the nerve to turn around and make it like Floyd Mayweather Jr. has fought nothing but the best. He's fought every single type of fighter. Come on, man. Come on. The funny thing about it is this. The Floyd fans just do not want to recognize the talent that Manny Pacquiao has, and Manny Pacquiao fans don't want to recognize the talent that Floyd has. They both have exceptional talent, okay? And it's just this division is so sickening. We got to be able to give them both credit, and we're not going to be able to settle the score until they fight in the ring. I don't care what you say. I know that Given Quality loves to see me get riled up when he says that Mayweather is the greatest of all time. He's not. He's not. The man is going to, like I said yesterday, and you're going to have to hold that thought because I got to take a break.
If you're in upstate New York and you need a trucking company, then you need Viselli Enterprises. Viselli Enterprises is trucking at its finest. They have it all. Dump trucks, dump trailers, walk-in floors, flatbeds, flowboys, tankers, loaders, and a full line of roll-off containers for any job, big or small. Viselli Enterprises is also the source for all your sand, gravel, and topsoil needs. Visit them on the web at RiselliTrucking.com or call 315-433-5115. That's 315-433-5115 and tell them Billy C sent you.
Are you ready, America? Then let's get it on with Fight Now TV. It's time, fight fans. Your channel has arrived. All the fights, all the names, all the action. From world-class boxing events to mixed martial arts showdowns and other combat sports matchups, Fight Now TV delivers the hits and more. Call your television provider and tell them you want to get it on with Fight Now TV. For more details, go to fightnow.com.
We've got a great matchup tonight. Fighting out of the left corner is the #1 ranked contender.
No, he is not.
I'm sorry, but who are you?
I am the IBO computer. I am programmed to provide only fair and unbiased boxing rankings. This fighter is the number 15 ranked contender.
Fair and unbiased boxing rankings? That's a new concept.
Actually, it is not. The IBO has provided unbiased computerized rankings for many years.
Well, we've still got a great fight tonight, folks. In the left corner is the number 15 ranked contender.
The IBO, the champion of integrity. Learn more at iboboxing.com. Check out BillyCBoxing.com now, or feel the wrath of the mighty mustache.
Oh, that hurts. Why are you doing that to my face? I hate you. I hate you.
That's BillyCBoxing.com. Consider this your warning.
As a young boy, all Billy C dreamed about was one day having his own catchphrase.
And we're back. And we're back.
One boy, one dream, one day, everyone will say.
And we're back. 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 And we're back.
Catchphrase coming soon to a theater near you.
And we're back. You're listening to the Talking Boxing with Billy C, a radio show. You're watching the replay right now on LDL TV. Give a shout out to my main man, John, and the rest of the top-notch staff at LDL TV. Keep that LDL TV in the back of your mind. You're going to be hearing a lot about us. Him, them. I'm just a pawn in this big game of chess that we call life when it comes to LDL TV, anyway. But continuing my mailbags, and we got Given Quality, again, telling us how great Floyd is. Like I said yesterday, what I started to just say before the break, listen, when I think of great fighters, immediately a specific fight pops into my head, something, right? You think of Floyd Mayweather, when all is said and done, I'm sorry. I mean, I don't have the Floyd Mayweather feety pajamas, and I don't have the Floyd Mayweather, special lamps and light switches and stuff I'm sure Given Quality has. But, I when I think of Floyd Mayweather, the first thing that comes to my mind is him not fighting Manny Pacquiao. I'm sorry, that's the first thing that comes to my mind. And then if you say, no, not that, think of a fight. Honestly, the first fight that comes to my mind is the punk move that he did, the legal sucker punch punk move he did with Victor Ortiz. I mean, that's actually the first thing. I know it's not fair, but it is. And I mean, look at Floyd Mayweather. the Ortiz is good. And you start thinking deep, and you say, well, okay, the Ricky Hatton fight. I liked Floyd in the Ricky Hatton fight because I felt that Ricky Hatton forced Floyd to do what I want to see Floyd do, and that's be aggressive and fight. And then again, the referee didn't. I think it was Joe Cortez. I'm positive it was Joe Cortez. The referee didn't help matters anybody. Every time Ricky Hatton got in close, he separated him. But that's a whole nother story. And then you think of the Zab Judah fight, the Oscar De La Hoya fight. Zab Judah, Zab Judah was doing great in that fight all the way up until the end. Oscar De La Hoya, many people think won the fight. Both fights against Castillo, many people won. My point is for a guy that many people, including Given Quality, think is the greatest ever, I just there's no, and no one loves the sweet science more than me. No one loves the science of boxing more than me. But there's just nothing that comes out. No clinics come to play. Just to give you an argument, you look at Manny Pacquiao, man, you could say to yourself, man, you think of the Ricky Hatton fight. How about that knockout, right? Ricky Hatton just woke up from that. The Oscar De La Hoya beating. Here Floyd Mayweather struggles with the guy, and many people think De La Hoya wins the fight, and he takes a severe beating at the hands of Manny Pacquiao. Now, I don't want to hear about the weight train or anything like that. That was a contract. They both agreed, so I don't want to hear about that. Monday morning quarterback. You think of Margarito. Look what Manny did to Margarito. Floyd never fought him. Didn't even want to fight him. What about Cotto? We're going to see Floyd. And the best-kept secret, Sherman Henshin, called me yesterday. And he said, what do you think of the Floyd-Cotto fight? I said, I'm going to give Cotto all the credit in the world, but I'm giving Mayweather even more for fighting Cotto. I like the fight. It's a dangerous fight. It's a dangerous fight. Floyd's going to probably win, but it's a dangerous fight. There's no question about it. Given Quality, I got to run through these. Given Quality says, that company man, Johnny Robbins, continuing the deception for Bob Arum with his responses. Just give the man his credit for winning the fight instead of trying to downplay his performance and use BS excuses. That fight was nothing like Pacquiao Juan Manuel Marquez #3. Pacquiao visibly got his ass dominated and whooped, while Juan Manuel Marquez landed countless flush shots. Abril controlled the majority of the fight but didn't completely outclass Rios like Juan Manuel Marquez did to Pacquiao. Man, whatever. Thanks for that comment. Johnny Robbins says that, he thought that Abril won the fight. I mean, he thought that Rios won the fight, that Abril wasn't landing flush shots and was running away too much, and that's why he felt that Rios did win the fight. So I don't see the connection at all. Juan Manuel Marquez was counterpunching Manny Pacquiao. There's always a fighter that has your number in the sport, and it's apparent that Juan Manuel Marquez has Manny Pacquiao's number. With that said, I look at Juan Manuel Marquez's performance on Saturday, and it was ordinary at best. Ordinary at best. So come on, man. We're comparing apples to oranges here. Apples to oranges, yeah. EQX says, I'm from Brooklyn, and Tyson is my favorite fighter, and the first thing that comes to mind is him biting Lennox. Watching that go down live is a vivid memory. You think of Mike Tyson, and the first thing that comes to your mind is the ankle bite, the leg bite of Lennox Lewis. That's cool. At least it's something, something that pops into your mind, quickly. You think of Floyd Mayweather, quick. What pops in your mind? Maybe arrogance, maybe money, maybe a gambling slip. But does a fight? Does an antic? Come on. Mike Tyson. You think of Mike Tyson, you could think of so many things. Mike Tyson. You could start thinking. If I say name the first thing that comes to your mind when you talk about Mike Tyson, you could probably have 12. You could probably yell out 12 to me right out of the gate. If biting Lennox Lewis was important to EQX. That's cool, man. What about biting and spitting out of Anders' ear on the mat? What about the look on Mills Lane's face? What about the knockout of Trevor Berbick or what he did in many fights? The Michael Spinks fight. Even when he loses, even when Buster Douglas knocked him out, that image of him trying to put the mouthpiece back in his mouth. I mean, there's just so many things that come to mind when you mention Tyson. And I'm sorry, maybe it's just me, but when you mention Floyd, I really got to think. I'm not knocking him. He's obviously a more well-rounded fighter than Mike Tyson was, but sorry, man. EQX goes on to say, I think Floyd's signature fight was the Juan Manuel Marquez fight. For him to be that much better than Juan Manuel Marquez after an 18-month layoff was amazing to watch for me, because I also think that Juan Manuel Marquez beat Pacquiao in their last 2 fights. I respect Juan Manuel Marquez, fight game and skill, but that was just a field day for Floyd. Hey, I got to appreciate EQX's opinion, and my only thought on that, and I don't want to be critical, like just the same way I tell people, don't tell me about how drained Oscar De La Hoya was against Manny Pacquiao and everything else. But when you look at the Juan Manuel Marquez fight against Floyd, I mean, Floyd blatantly didn't even try to make the weight, and that was an issue for me. And I also didn't like the fact that it appeared to me, and this is just in my humble opinion, that Floyd carried Juan Manuel Marquez, and I'm convinced that was part of the deal, that he wouldn't knock him out. I felt that Floyd could knock out Juan Manuel Marquez at any point during that fight, but he didn't. So, and he gave him he showed a lot of respect for a guy that seemingly couldn't even connect with Floyd. But hey, I respect EQX's opinion. Good emails there, man. Thanks. Bobby, my man Bobby says, I thought Rios was stifled in that fight. He looked like a ghost of himself, and he couldn't mount an attack against a Brill. He got a serious gift. As far as a fight with Marquez, I've always felt he should steer far clear of that, because he would be put on the skewer and grilled. But a fight with Alvarado would be a barn burner. Also with Maidana moving back down, that fight could be a good one. I just hope I don't see any more robberies. I'll have to change the Chinese zodiac to the year of the fox. Thanks for the email, Bobby. To tell you the truth, I disagree with you on the Marquez fight. If Bam Bam Rios and Juan Manuel Marquez fought, I think Bam Bam, and here this was on the heels of arguably his worst performance against Abril. I think that Bam Bam Rios would beat Juan Manuel Marquez, because Juan Manuel Marquez just does not look the same. He looked like a muscle head. He looked like a weightlifter. He's like walking like the Crusher. He doesn't look right at 140 pounds, and I think that Brandon Rios is going to look right at 140. So I don't know. I'd like to see that fight. As far as the other two you mentioned, of course they would. Those are layups, man. You got two fighters, going head to head with each other. There's no question about that. I mean, the names that you mentioned in terms of Mike Alvarado, and also what's his name? Who else did you mention? What did I do with you? What did I do? Oh, I thought you said Mike Maidana, right? Didn't you say Marcos Maidana? I can't even see it in here, but I thought you said Marcos Maidana. Maidana. Maidana and Alvarado, I think, would clearly be good fights for Rios. There's no question about that. But I have a feeling Rios beats Marquez. I'm sorry. I saw Marquez, and I think Marquez, if I'm Marquez and I'm working with Marquez, I focus on Eric Morales right now and walk away from the sport on top against a fighter that's similar to Juan Manuel Marquez in age and their ability to slow down a little bit. It'll still make an interesting fight. It will be an entertaining fight. It will be a sellable fight, and I think it's a safe fight for Juan Manuel Marquez. But if he tries to step it up and fight a guy like Rios or another big name in July, and then follow and end his career, either against Pacquiao or someone else, I think it's time to call it a day for Juan Manuel Marquez. I'm sorry. I just he didn't impress me. He just fought so slow. He looked like he lost his speed and everything. So that's my point. But anyway, listen, I got to take a break. When I come back, I got one more mailbag. I got some news to talk about, some last minute replacements and all that happy stuff. Then we got Billy the Kid Irwin scheduled to come on. We got Cory Spinks scheduled to come on, and Amy Green all coming up in a little bit.
Are you ready, America? Then let's get it on with Fight Now TV. It's time, fight fans. Your channel has arrived. All the fights, all the names, all the action. From world-class boxing events to mixed martial arts showdowns and other combat sports matchups, Fight Now TV delivers the hits and more. Call your television provider and tell them you want to get it on with Fight Now TV. For more details, go to fightnow.com.
Broadcasting in all corners of the globe, on the web and radio.
He would scoff at a stretcher, that man, I would
think. You're listening to Talkin' Boxing with Billy C. from upstate New York in the good old US of A.
Boxing is here to stay because we are here to stay.
The best 2 hours of boxing talk on the airwaves.
Hey, fight fans, check out KOFantasyBoxing.com. KO Fantasy Boxing is boxing's only trademarked fantasy game. Check it out, www.KOFantasyBoxing.com. Select your own gym, your own fighters, track them through a season that can last from 3 months to a year, depending upon which league you join. You got to check this out, man, www.KOFantasyBoxing.com. Join it today. Again, www.KOFantasyBoxing.com. And tell him Billy C sent ya.
Now back to Talkin' Boxing with Billy C, the only radio host man enough to take a punch from Mike Tyson.
Wait a minute, man. Hold on there. Jeremy, man, I need you to take this one, all right?
Wait, what? No way. I can't do this.
Need I remind you I'm Billy C, damn it? Now put on that mustache and get in there.
Hey, look at me. I'm Billy C. Crap.
The undisputed heavyweight champion of Boxing Talk Radio. It's Talkin' Boxing with Billy C.
Test 1 2. Test 1 2. My fellow Americans, good evening. Welcome back to Talkin' Boxing with Billy C. It's great to be here discussing the sweet science with everybody. I love boxing. I love talking boxing. It's what I do.
Bill.
Wait, what?
Bill.
Why are you interrupting?
Yeah,
Wait, what?
Wrong.
What's
wrong,
the problem?
Billy,
what?
C.
I did not have...
We're gonna have to ask
wrong
you.
Speech. What do you mean wrong, Billy C? What's going on here? Fine, I'll go. I just wanted to talk some boxing on TPSradio.net. That's all I wanted to do. I don't need your damn show. I'll get my own talking wrestling with the other Billy C. Yeah, that sounds good. Yeah, I've always been a Hulkamaniac anyway.
Broadcasting live, brother. Welcome back to Talking Boxing with Billy C. on the mighty TPSradio.net, brother. What you gonna do, brother?
And we're back. You are listening to the Talkin' Boxing with Billy C. radio show. You're watching us on the Fight Now television channel, and I want to welcome the Fight Now audience just joining us like they do Monday through Friday from 6 to 7:30 a.m. Eastern Time. And if you don't have the Fight Now channel on your sports channel lineup, then you need to call your local television provider and tell them that you want Fight Now right now. Don't forget, every night is Fight Night on Fight Now, 10 p.m. Eastern Time. We show you a new fight. So aside from that and all the great coverage like we had this past weekend with Super Saturday, you've waited long enough. Call your local television provider and tell them you want the Fight Now channel right now. It's that simple. If you need more information about the channel, you could visit it. Visit their website, not the channel. Well, I suppose you could drop in on them, too, if you want. But visit their website, www.fightnow.com, just to get the Fight Now audience caught up. We're talking we're doing the mailbags. You know, we got our typical given quality. Floyd Mayweather's the greatest fighter. You know, we talked about that. And then the last email that I was just talking about. And you know, what I was saying yesterday about Floyd, was that, I'm sorry, but, when somebody mentions his name and I just specific performance doesn't come in my mind. I'm sorry. You can name any other fighter, and I get this vision of something, good or bad, pops into my mind, and it just doesn't happen with Floyd. I got to think about it. I got to think. Oh yeah, that's right. That sucker punch. Right. Oh yeah, that's right. Him waving around, money and burning $100 bills. Oh yeah, that's right. I remember him. I remember Floyd. Yeah. But anyway, just one last thing I wanted to mention about Bobby's last email was about Juan Manuel Marquez. Now, don't get me wrong, man. I think Juan Manuel Marquez is a great fighter. He's a Hall of Famer, just like they were saying in the broadcast the other night. This is a guy that's going to be as soon as he hangs up his gloves, whatever the minimum is, 5 years, he's going to be in the Hall of Fame. I mean, bing, he's there. They're already brushing off his spot for him. So I mean, he's got nothing left to prove. So obviously, if he's looking for money to pad his bank account and secure his future. I can understand that totally. My point was that, I just don't think he's the same fighter unless he's fighting an opponent named Manny Pacquiao. Sometimes fighters need that to bring out the best. And I'm going to throw up if somebody mentions Mayweather again. But I'm going to throw in Sugar Ray Leonard here. When you look at the famous fight, we just passed the 25-year anniversary. It's a fight that. I will argue with people. I think that fight with him and Hagler ended in a draw. I think it ended in a draw. David Allen's going to give me some crap right now in the chat room, but that was my opinion. I know it didn't go down that way. But my point, my accolade here for Sugar Ray Leonard was that he rose, and we saw one of the best Sugar Ray Leonards. Maybe not throughout his whole career. We've seen better performances, but it was a memorable performance. It was a performance that he deserved to get a draw or a win out of. It's a fight that, it seemed to bring the best out of a guy like Sugar Ray Leonard. And, I don't know if I could say that about Floyd. I just, can't say it. And when I mentioned Juan Manuel Marquez, that's the kind of fight. I mean, you get the best. You get that brush off the dust. I'm the best I can be when Juan Manuel Marquez steps in the ring against Manny Pacquiao. It's just that matchup. So, hey, don't forget May 12th, world title fight's going to be brought to you live on the internet. It's a webcast. We're going to be calling the action on LDL TV and Ustream. May 12th. Chevelle Fist of Steel Halbach against Terry the Road Warrior Blair for the IFBA World Welterweight title. We're coming at you from Florida, Tampa. If you want to know some information about the card, visit the website, www.billycboxing.com. I thought I was going to say something else. And click the Tampa boxing poster. That's right on the front page. Georgie Groves, a lot of people think that Georgie Groves is going to be the next best thing. He's a super middleweight, young super middleweight. He's only got 14 fights under his belt, 11 knockouts. He's the British and Commonwealth super middleweight champ. Now, he was scheduled to fight in a world title bout against Robert Stiglitz on Monday, this coming Monday. And it's off. It's off. Apparently, I'm sorry. I guess the... why is this saying Monday? It must have been. It was scheduled to fight in the 5th. It was reported on Monday. I can't even read my own writing. It was reported yesterday that on May 5th, Georgie Groves will not be able to fight. Robert Stiglitz. I don't know what the actual injury is. But Stiglitz is a tough fighter. What's going on? I got the UK connection here in the chat room. Any word out of the UK about the injury with Georgie Groves, guys? I'm curious. No, I don't have any report. They said all I know is that he said, and I quote, "I'm sorry to have to announce that I won't be boxing on May 5th. I've picked up an injury in the build-up to this fight. We tried to work through it." But soon realized I wouldn't be able to perform the training needed to prepare for this fight. David Allen has given us an up-to-date England report, and he's saying nothing has been discussed about the actual injury. So Georgie Groves not fighting Robert Stiglitz for a world title. Truthfully, don't get me wrong. I like Georgie Groves, and I'm looking forward to a great career from this kid. But I don't know if he's ready for Stiglitz. Stiglitz is an underrated fighter. Marty Mulcahy always says it best. He says, when you get a title, it seems some fighters step up their level their quality level. It seems, it's ordinary fighters that somehow get an opportunity and win a title. And I'm not saying all champions are ordinary. I'm not saying that at all. But Robert Stiglitz was considered an ordinary fighter. He was brought in as an opponent when he won his title, and since then he's been pretty unbeatable. So he's a quality fighter, and I think George Groves was in a little too deep. So anyway, Marvin Quintaro against Al Sabupan. It's going to be taking place. It's going to be an IBF elimination bout, and it's going to be taking place this weekend. And we'll see what happens with this. It's taking place on Saturday. I think it's an important fight for both fighters. I mean, Sabupan, Captain A, is undefeated, 18-0, and in the lightweight division, he's got 13 knockouts. It is the elimination mandatory. It's the elimination bout to become the mandatory challenger for the champion, as defined by the IBF, and that's Miguel Vasquez, who's 30 wins, 3 losses, 13 knockouts. And Marvin Quintaro, not a bad fighter. Not a bad fighter at all. I've gotten to see this kid fight a couple of times. Was highly regarded at one time. Had a couple of losses, and then, he's working his way back up, too. Currently, he's sitting on a 24-win, 3-loss record with 20 knockouts. So we'll see what happens with that one coming up this weekend. Also this weekend, on Friday Night Fights, we have the fight that's going to be on television, aside from the main event. I mean, we know what the main event is. Adonis Stevenson is going to be taking on Noel Gonzalez. Noel Gonzalez. I like that fight. I think that now Stevenson's gotten a lot of fanfare because he's a power puncher, and he's been really destroying people in his last handful of fights. But against Gonzalez on Friday night, this is going to be a true test to see where Stevenson is, because Gonzalez is a no-joke fighter, man. 28 wins, 1 loss, 20 of his wins come by knockout. And Stevenson, he's only got 18 pro fights, 17 wins and 1 loss with 14 knockouts. So the ratio is close there. So we'll have to wait and see. And that's the main event. The co-main, which we're going to see on Friday night's fights, is Storm Alvarez, Eliter. Storm Alvarez is going to be taking on Reiko Sanders. And Reiko Sanders, he's been around a long time. He's a journeyman fighter. He's a tough guy. He's a good gauge to see where a young fighter's at. Sanders is sitting on a 22-win, 15-loss, and 2-draw record with 9 knockouts. In his whole career, he's only been stopped 1 time, so he's a pretty tough out. And Alvarez has only got 7 fights under his belt. He's 7-0 with 5 knockouts. In case you don't know who he is, he was a 2008 Colombian Olympian. So those are the 2 fights we're going to be seeing, scheduled to see, as of now anyway, on Friday Night Fights. Speaking of Friday night, stay tuned. We may have an announcement tomorrow about Friday. We may not be able to do a live show. We're going to be doing a live broadcast, I think, on Friday in Philadelphia. I will let you know for sure tomorrow. I think they said it was a done deal last night, but these guys waiting for the last minute. I don't know, but I'll keep you posted on that. And it'll kind of suck because I'm looking forward to Marty Mulcahy. That's for sure. Anyway, one last thing I got to mention before we switch gears here, because I see that Billy the Kid Irwin is waiting patiently. Victor Ortiz, Ortiz-Berto numero dos, the rematch. Well, we heard that it was going to be there, and it was made official yesterday at the Staples Center, June 23rd. Umberto Soto and Lucas Matisse, I was corrected by my man John, is the co-main event. And we got a couple of quotes from these guys. But first, let me get some quotes right from this guy. Let me shift gears, and we'll be right back with Billy the Kid Irwin.
The undisputed heavyweight champion of Boxing Talk Radio with no worthy contenders. It's Talking Boxing with Billy C.
And we're back. You are listening to the Talking Boxing with Billy C radio show, and you're watching us on the Fight Now television channel. That's right, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, combat sports. It's here right now, and it's called Fight Now. You got to call your local television provider and tell them that you want the Fight Now channel added to your sports channel lineup. It's that simple. Pick up the phone and tell them that you want Fight Now right now. And all you got to do to find out about the channel is to look at their website, www.fightnow.com. And speaking of now, joining us, he's a former world lightweight champion, Billy the Kid Irwin. Good morning, Billy.
Good morning. How are you?
Not too bad, man. Not too bad. Glad you could take some time with us. Now, first of all, I mean, you've been out of the ring since 2005, and you're involved with some training. You're training some kids for the amateurs, aren't you?
Yeah, I have some really good kids. I started training. I took a couple of years off just to stay with my family and that, and then got back into the training. And since then, I've developed a bunch of good young fighters. I have 2 national champions. I have an 18-year-old who won the nationals. He'll be going to the World Juniors in October in Thailand. I had this kid when he was 92 pounds. He's now 132. He's best in the country. And I have another junior Canadian champion. I have a couple silver medalists. So we're doing good.
Now, do you have? Are you just solely in the amateur ranks? Do you have any pros in your gym?
I had a pro a couple years ago, but he didn't show much promise. I've had some offers, but I don't want to leave. I don't want to leave the city. So I'm pretty much just staying here, and if anybody wants to come, they can come, and I'm more than welcome to train them. But I'm pretty much guiding the ones that I have now. I have probably 6 really solid, anywhere between 14, 18 that are going to do something soon.
Oh, good. So basically, you're building up your stable right now, right there.
Exactly.
That's good. That's good. Now, let me ask you this. I mentioned you were the IBO World Lightweight Champion. You also were a former Canadian Commonwealth Lightweight Champ. You fought for the lightweight title twice and came up short. In 2005, it was your last pro fight against Juan Diaz. Let me ask you this. What was it like to make the transition from training to fight yourself to all of a sudden now training a kid and trying to guide them in the right direction?
It was hard at first because I still wanted to get in there and spar and do all that with them. But then I sort of stepped back, and now what I do is I just use the desire and the motivation that I had then as, training, and I put it towards the kids now. So the hunger and the desire is still there, but now it's directed at them. So I'm yelling and screaming, and they're always in the best shape because I work them hard, and they listen.
Well, that's key, man. With any sport, right? As long as the kids are listening, that's okay. But it's got to be hard. I mean, with boxing, it's got to be a little harder because of the nature of the beast. I mean, like you just said, you wanted to get in there and throw on the gloves and just. I mean, it was probably so automatic for you. I mean, when did you realize you just can't do that anymore?
Well, I haven't really gotten to that point because I still think I can do it. Because I'm still in there, and I have I still spar with the younger ones, and it's still in there, but I just know that my time is done a long time ago, and I got to put my efforts towards these guys. But I use the same hunger and the will to train that I had then, and I just have to direct it towards them and make them do it, and they oblige me. They do it. They work hard, and that's kind of easy because the rewards I get back from them are they're equal to how it was when I was fighting.
So that was my next question. So it's got to be rewarding for you especially when you're starting with these kids so young, and to see them progress, and when all of a sudden you're trying to teach them something and it clicks, and they go from struggling to pick it up to all of a sudden getting it, and it's got to be rewarding for you to see that, as you're looking from the outside, so to speak.
Oh, it is, because at first, when they're learning, like a few years ago, it's more difficult. They don't. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, and sometimes they win, sometimes they don't. But now, I've had a few years with them, and they're doing all the right things, and now it's starting to click, and everyone is seeing it, and they're seeing the rewards. The kid that I explained earlier, he got the best youth boxer in the country. He's going to be fighting Italy in the dual meet next month, the South American country in July, and then the World Championships in October. So this has only been 4 years. And seeing the rewards is just awesome, and I'm seeing them as well too, because nobody really. I've been out of the amateur scene for so long, so nobody really knew what I was up to. I retired 5 years, 6 years, so all of a sudden we went to the nationals last month, and my kids started knocking out their opponents with left hooks to the body, and we just got out of the ring and walked away. And next guy comes in, bang, same thing, left hooks to the body, and then people started saying, "Hey, that's Billy River, that's Billy the Kid, that's his guys." And then the officials started coming up to me, and then next thing you know, it seemed like, and then it was right back when I was fighting, and it was good for me as well. But the kids are the ones that made me look good.
Well, hopefully it'll be making you look good in the pros, right? After you really get back into it.
That's the whole thing. Just one progression, one step to the next step, and then onto that. Yeah.
Now I'm going to ask you a couple of tough questions. In comparison, and I know this is going to be tough, because here you are, it's like a father and a son. You're working with these kids, you're watching them progress and everything. You just told us, that you're getting, feeling rewarded and everything else. Now, if you get to look back now and see how these kids are, their mindset, how they train, what they put into it, compared to what you were doing at that age and when you were training and before you turned pro, do you see any differences, or do you see some similarities? In other words, did you guys train harder than they're training today? Did you get better instruction that they're getting today? I mean, how do you compare the two eras, so to speak?
I think I trained harder. I think that I trained harder, but I pushed them as hard as I was trained. So it's kind of hard, because I'm doing things. So I'm training these kids now how I was training at my peak when I was really training hard. So it's kind of hard to judge, but I know they're working hard. But then when they leave the gym, I don't know what they're doing. That's the hardest thing, because I knew when I came home, I was writing down in my book what I did that night, watching what I was eating, doing my sit-ups, going for my runs and my squats and doing all that. So that's the difference. I have so many of them, I can't keep track of all of them. But I know when they're in the gym, they train as hard as I did. As far as the other things, it's hard to tell.
Well, you'll be able to tell once they start going more than 3 rounds, right? If they
exactly.
If they did their road work or not. Let me ask you a question about a specific fight that you had. The fight prior to Juan Diaz, you fought Lou Bizarro, and I actually saw this kid fight a couple of times. He was very awkward. His father fought. Do you remember anything? You won that fight via 9th-round knockout. Do you remember anything? Did anything crazy happen in that fight? Because I know every fight that I ever saw with that kid in there, something crazy always happened. I'm just curious, because I don't recall the fight.
I don't remember anything crazy happening. I know they hated me. They were throwing things at me as I was walking to the ring and spitting on me. It was pretty bad.
Well, you weren't supposed to win that fight. You were like in his backyard. He was from the Buffalo area, and I think that fight was right on the border, right? Erie.
Yeah, that was in Erie.
Yeah.
Yeah. They didn't. I don't know if they expected me to win or not. I mean, I was going into his town, but I knew I was going to win the fight. But the way they treated me was, the crowd was pretty bad, and afterward it was pretty bad. But as far as everything else, the accommodations and the people in charge, no, they were fine. They were professional.
What do you? I got one more question for you. I know you're busy. I'll let you go now. For you now, you've been out of the sport. As far as inside the ring for the last 6 years. How would you look at the lightweight division right now? I know maybe some of the names might still be lingering around, but I mean, how would you rate it now compared to when you were fighting? And do you think that the division has gotten better, or do you think it's gotten worse?
It's always hard to tell because really boxing is all about style, so it's all about the style. Right now, who's the lightweight champion now? Is it Tony DeMarco? I don't even...
Well, yeah, DeMarco's one of them. You got
one of them.
Rios lost his title on weight, and then he got it back. So
I look at somebody like Rios. To me, he's exactly he's like a Peter Cardona. Not as much power, not as good of a body puncher. Tough, durable, comes forward. He's exciting. That's very similar. We're pretty much similar to how he fights now. DeMarco's, I like the way he fights. Jorge Linares, I like the way he fought, won on his last one, but he was exciting to watch. It just seems like all the guys just grow out of the division.
Yeah, I like DeMarco. As a matter of fact, we had a discussion the other day about Tony DeMarco. And Hammer and Hank Lundy had just won a fight that was on, and I mean he looked good and everything, and some of our listeners that were live in the chat room like they are now, they were just saying, oh well, Lundy's got a shot and this and that, and we started talking about DeMarco, and for some reason, at least here in the States, I think a lot of fans underestimate Antonio DeMarco. I think the guy's the real deal. I mean, not only is he a champion, but you can never count him out. I mean, he may not be...
You can never count him out, exactly.
Yeah, he reminds me, and I was saying this the other day, he reminds me of Greg Haugen, when Greg Haugen used to fight. I mean, a guy you can't count out, right?
Yeah, always in shape, always ready to fight. Yeah, you can't count him out.
No, and he takes you right to the last minute of the last round. I mean, that's how we beat Jorge Linares, and I think he deserves a little more credit, but that's just me.
Yeah, I agree. Just, got to look at the personality he has, too. Pretty humble, quiet, does his own thing, workmanlike. So he's not going to get much attention from the fans.
Yeah, well, that's kind of unfortunate sometimes, because if you're loud and you're an idiot, then you get the attention, right?
Exactly.
If you're quiet and you're a blue collar, go kick somebody's butt kind of a guy, you don't get any recognition for that. I don't know. That kind of bothers me.
No, that you don't, unless you're fighting in the blue, and then they start to appreciate you.
Right.
Yeah.
No doubt. Well, listen, Billy the Kid Irwin, I appreciate you stopping by, and good luck with your kids. And as soon as you're ready to turn one of these guys pro, let me know. We'd love to have both you guys on, you and your fighter. That would be great, man.
Definitely, I will. Thank you.
All right, man. Take care.
Okay, bye-bye.
That's Billy the Kid Irwin joining us from the Ontario area. He's actually up near Niagara Falls. I tell you, you can hear it in his voice that he gets the reward from moving these kids along, and it's tough. And we've talked about the Canadian amateur program as well as the pros. I've always said that the two countries, in my opinion, that are carrying boxing on their back is England and Canada, and both of those programs, both of those pro start with the amateur program. So, hey, listen, I got to take a break, and we'll be right back.
Talkin' Boxing with Billy C now has official merchandise available on TalkinBoxing.com. T-shirts, sweatshirts, hoodies, and mugs. And yes, even undergarments. Talkin' Boxing apparel is the perfect gift for the boxing fan in your life. Log on to www.talkinboxing.com. That's TalkinBoxing.com and place your order today.
Join us here for 2 hours as Billy and the gang do what they do best.
Every time I start talking about boxing, a white man got to pull Rocky Marciano out their ass. Rocky Marciano was good, but compared to Joe Louis, Rocky Marciano ain't...
Hit Joe Louis's ass.
Joe Louis was 75 years old when he fought.
Huh? What?
We're supposed to be talking boxing.
It's Talking Boxing with Billy C.
As Billy C sits here in the multi-million-dollar Talkin' Boxing Studios, sipping a fine wine before you're even out of bed, you should be thinking, damn, I wish I had a mustache like his. It's the Talkin' Boxing with Billy C show. He's Billy C, and you're not. Sucks to be you.
Now let's dig into our archives and hear a rare interview when Billy C first became the champion of boxing talk radio. Hello, Billy C. As the new champ, can we ask you a few questions?
Why, certainly.
Okay, your fans would like to know how you and your corner have successfully walloped the competition.
We're not ordinary people. We're morons.
Anything else?
I'm a victim of circumstance.
Did your success finally come when you made the show 5 days a week for 2 hours? What do you think?
I'm trying to think, but nothing happens.
Now, please tell the listeners what you've learned from making it this far.
Certainly. If at first you don't succeed, keep on sucking till you do succeed.
Great words of wisdom, Billy C. Keep up the great work as the undisputed People's Champion with your show, Talkin' Boxing with Billy C. Any last words to anyone who's listening?
This is your fault, you bonehead.
And we're back. You are listening to the Talking Boxing with Billy C radio show. You're watching us on the Fight Now television channel. Glad you could join us. I know we're a little out of whack, so with the commercial break here, I think we're a minute too early. Sorry, Fight Now. Sorry, Control Center or Master Control. That's it, Master Control. That's right. It's not to be confused with one of our listeners, Master Blaster. But anyway, Billy the Kid Irwin. You know, I had gotten an email earlier. One of his, I guess, students. One of his students was thanking us for having him on. And Billy the Kid Irwin had been on the show once before, but I didn't realize how long ago. It was 2008. 2008, man. I mean, we have so much content that from our shows. I mean, we're in our 8th year already, and we have so much. We have every show we have ever done, audio versions, at least audio versions, some audio and video versions. The problem is we never, for the first 5 years, or at least the first 4.5 years, we didn't keep track of what was on the shows. So we have this library full of the date of the show and no clue of what went on during that show. And I wish I had someone that was able to go back and just listen to these shows and watch shows that we have on tape and cut out some of the good stuff. And I would love to compile some kind of best of series or something, because there has been some really, really good stuff that we've done. When we first started, when Jeremy C. was with the show, not that he's not with it now, he just isn't obviously an active part. There was some funny bits that we did together in the morning that I wish we could dig up. I mean, just stuff that was just so funny. You know, when we did the first show, I think it was the pilot. I don't know if it was the pilot before we signed on with our first sports network, when we did internet only. Way back in our very first show that we ever did. We did a pilot, and we were picked up immediately after that pilot was aired. We recorded the show. I don't recall if we broadcast it live or not, but we sent it. We created a podcast and we put it out there. And by that next week, within 1 week, we were asked to become part of this sports network. And our show was launched. From that point on, we were doing the show. At that time, we were doing a once-a-week, 1-hour show that evolved into a once-a-week, 2-hour show that evolved into a daily 1-hour show and a once-a-week, 2-hour show. And then it finally was all connected into a daily 2-hour show. And we've come a long way. And for that pilot, the funny thing about that pilot, and I'll never forget it, was that at the time I had a different person that was doing the show with me. We actually had a producer sitting with us, who was Jeremy C., and me and another guy, and we did very well together. Ron Lipton was who started with us, and who incidentally just got his license back as a referee in New York State. But here we are, we're talking, and the whole idea of the show at the time, it was because I owned a gym, and I wanted, because I promoted boxing for so long, I wanted a way of promoting the gym. So I thought, hey, to do a live radio show out of the gym would be cool, and I thought of that as a promotional tool. My cousin was the one, Jeremy C. was the one who came up with the idea. I never really had did any radio before or anything like that, but Jeremy had a background. The funny thing about it was that what we did and how it's become the norm in the business, and the way the technology has changed, we were all on the cutting edge. If you go back 8 years ago, podcasting and streaming and that kind of thing was all in its infancy. As a matter of fact, today they have a new name for it, and a lot of colleges have put together a curriculum based on it, and it's called new media. So everything that we're doing here and that we have done for 8 years is all considered new media. And it's funny because we were doing it 8 years ago, and that very first episode, I believe it was the first. It could have been the second one, but it was definitely one of the first two. We're doing this thing, and in the background you're hearing guys hitting the bag. It was cool, man. It was cool. We had a setup in there. We had a huge gym, and we're doing this thing, and it was in the summertime. I remember that because the doors were open, the windows were open. It was like a sauna in there, and we're talking about the neighborhood because we were in like the worst neighborhood that you could imagine. In the morning and come to open up the place, you'd have to shush all the drying out bums and prostitutes that were all like, sleeping in the doorway and stuff like that, And if they didn't look so weathered, I would have been like, hey, what are you doing? But anyway, and we're talking about the area, and all of a sudden, we get drowned out by sirens and stuff. There was like some kind of robbery right next door. It was just so funny. Man, we got to dig that stuff up. And then the famous one with Jeremy, when he breaks down. He's on his way to the studio. This was a couple of years later. He's on his way to the studio, and every morning this guy would come busting into the studio, just as we're going. And good morning, ladies and gentlemen. He was late all the time, right? And he came busting into the studio, and he's soaking wet. He drives through this puddle with his car, and it was like a little lake or something, and it happened to have been in the entranceway of the radio station, and of the studio, I should say. And he pulls in, he rides through this puddle, stalls his car. His car dies in the center of the driveway as he rolled out of the puddle, and he leaves it there and goes running like O.J. Simpson. Well, the way he used to before he was running, in a white Bronco. But he runs into the place, catches the opening, and we're getting signs during the show. People holding up signs. Do you know whose car that is blocking the driveway? Nobody could get in or out. It was funny. It was funny. Anyway. Memories. Ortiz-Berto and Victor Ortiz. They officially announced June 23rd as being their makeup fight. Now, originally they were scheduled to fight in April, but as you all know, Ortiz-Berto, Ortiz-Berto, he's hurt his widow arm. He ripped his bicep, which is a serious injury. And they rescheduled the fight for June. And it was announced at the press conference that the location will be at the Staples Center in Los Angeles, California. I wonder. I guess that's gonna play favorites towards Ortiz, right? I mean, he's from that area. He's from the West Coast. I don't know. I don't think Ortiz-Berto is. I think Ortiz-Berto is from the southeast area. So But that's what's going to be happening. They had a couple of quotes from the press conference yesterday. Victor said, and I quote, I will not underestimate Andre Berto because of his injury. I hope and expect a new and improved Andre Berto. I'm training for the greatest Andre Berto ever. I want to give the fans the best fight because that's what they expect from both of us. I'm going to be the world champ again. There's no doubt about that. There's only one option for me, and that's a victory. Andre Berto said the arm is feeling great, and I'm ready to get in there and handle some unfinished business on June 23rd. This is guaranteed to be an explosive fight that you don't want to miss. Los Angeles has become a second home to me. Oh, okay, good. So he feels comfortable there. So I'm excited to perform for all the fans at the Staples Center this summer. It's a shame because this fight was huge, and there's just so many other things going on. Before that fight, you got the Mayweather-Cotto fight. Also before that fight, earlier in that same month, you have Manny Pacquiao taking on Timothy Bradley. Both Mayweather and Pacquiao taking on formidable foes. There's no question about that. So we'll see what happens with it. My only thing is I kind of, Victor Ortiz. Sometimes I just can't put my finger on whether I like him, whether I don't like him. I like him as a person. He's such a likable kid. And I like him as a fighter. He's got a lot of heart. And ever since I was very critical of him when he virtually was saying, nobody should take a beating like this. But I've changed. I've changed my opinion. I think he deserves the credit. It's unfortunate what happened in the Mayweather fight. I'm not saying that anything would have been any different, but I would have liked to have seen Ortiz, go into the middle to even late rounds against Floyd, because he was connecting a couple of shots with Floyd. I had that fight even at the stoppage, at the time of the stoppage. I thought that. That he was coming back in that fight, and he did land a couple of good shots. But, hey, we'll never know, and he's got to focus on Andre Berto right now. Now, Andre Berto, I've always liked Andre Berto. As a matter of fact, we got to break out some interviews with Andre before he even won his first title. I think it was before he even won a regional title we had him on, and he's been on the show a bunch of times, just not in the last year or so. And my hang-up with Andre is... I think he's got too many people in the corner. He's just, it's chaos. It's utter chaos. It's utter chaos in that corner, So, anyway, we'll have to wait and see. We got plenty of time for that one. Did you hear that Danny Green, this is a guy that, what is it in Australia, man? These fighters, like Danny Green, every time he wants to say something, he holds a press conference, Can't he just say it? I mean, can't they just do, here in the States, we do something called a press release. You don't have to call this big conference. I mean, somebody's got to foot the bill for that. I guess Danny, the green machine, green means he must have a green machine, printing money. I don't know. 31 wins, 5 losses, 27 come by knockout. He says that Anthony Mundine may have a rematch with him. And apparently... Mundine poo-pooed a fight against Austin Trout, who he said, and I quote, I'm not going to fight a guy like Austin Trout. This is Mundine. He says, who is laughable because he's really a nobody. If he came with a name and came with some pulling power, I would fight him, but I'm not going to let him use me and take my money. I got news for you, man. With the exception of the land down under, and maybe his big fat walrus promoter that he's got here in the States, I think there's more interest in Austin Trout than Anthony Mundine. Sorry, man, and that's just my opinion. As far as Mundine and Green, come on, Green has been long done. He just keeps hanging around, trying to get paydays. Mundine does nothing with fighting him. He wants to fight a guy, wants to fight a real fight, wants to fight a young fighter, wants to make some real money. Austin Trout is the guy. Mundine should come over here in the States and make some money. But hey, I don't know, man. According to him, Austin Trout's laughable, and he'd rather face a tough guy like Green. Come on, man. Come on. But anyway, speaking about fights that are coming up that kind of shocks me. Paulie Malignaggi is getting a shot at the WBA welterweight championship. I can never pronounce his first name. I just call him V. Senchenko. And I tell you right now, Sinchenko's trainer is none other than the Freddie Roach. And Freddie Roach has been adamant about this fight. He says Sinchenko is underrated. He says he's a very, very good boxer, and he's got fantastic technique. I think his jab is going to control. His jab is his best weapon, and I think it will be the difference in his fight against Paulie Malignaggi. He's faster than Paulie and more power than Paulie. He should control the fight. Paulie Malignaggi's got a lot riding on this fight. There's no question about that. I mean, he wins this title and comes back. I mean, he's slated to open up the Barclays Center in Brooklyn in October with a world title defense there in his hometown of Brooklyn. There is a lot on the line for Paulie Malignaggi. But let me tell you this. I have a feeling that he's going to headline that card, win, lose, or draw, come Friday. I think it's Saturday, April 29th, on pay-per-view. So Paulie Malignaggi against V. Sinchenko for V. Sinchenko's WBA welterweight championship coming up in another week or so. So we'll be looking forward to that one. A couple of fights that were announced and scheduled. How about May 4th? Ponce de Leon brings his Fountain of Youth. No. Different Ponce de Leon. Daniel Ponce de Leon is going to be taking on Eduardo Chucky Lascano May 4th in Las Vegas at the Hard Rock Hotel. We'll see what happens with that. Ponce de Leon is now 42 wins, 4 losses, with 35 of his wins coming by knockout. This is the card that's going to be taking place the day before the Floyd Mayweather-Miguel-Cotto fight. And traditionally, when they do this, it works out pretty well, man. They do pretty well because a lot of people come in for the whole weekend for those big events. And these guys are going to do pretty good, I think. And another fight that was announced May 25th, Efron Equivus is going to be taking on Roberto Castaneda in a 10-round fight that's going to be coming at you from Atlantic City, I think. Oh, I'm sorry. It's going to be at the Foxwoods in Connecticut. So maybe I'll be at that one. It's going to be part of Friday Night Fights. Maybe I'll swing by the old Foxwoods on May 25th if I'm not doing something else. Speaking of something else, I'll tell you, this is something else. Mayweather and Miguel Cotto, the fight has been announced. Now, we know that Miguel Cotto has a WBA junior middleweight title, super welterweight, whatever you want to call it. And that's what's on the line for Floyd Mayweather when he fights Miguel Cotto on May 5th. But, it was announced yesterday that the WBC is throwing their diamond-studded Super Mongoose, Super Duper, Gotchi Diamond Belt on the line. And, when I read this, it makes me laugh because of the quote, because the guy who said this is, I'll tell you right now, and I quote, the WBC belt has always been respected by boxers as one of the most prestigious title they can win, and to have the diamond belt up for grabs in Ring Kings Mayweather versus Cotto main event adds even more to this great night. When this fight is over, there'll be absolutely no doubt at who the best 154-pounder in the world is. And that was said and quoted from Oscar De La Hoya. First and foremost, maybe the WBC used to be the most coveted in belt. I think it's the most joke. I think it's the biggest joke sanctioning body out there right now, how they try to separate themselves from, thinking that they are boxing. The funny thing about this is that Mayweather refuses to pay sanctioning fees. I know that he wanted the belt last time because he wanted to have a belt, and I know that he's fighting for the belt this time against Cotto with the WBA, but I'm curious to know about the sanctioning fees for the diamond-studded Super Mongoose belt from the WBC. I'll bet you that Mayweather's not putting up one little nickel up for that belt at all. No sanctioning fees are going to go. Now, typically, the promoter pays for it, but in Mayweather's cases, he is his own promoter. So I don't know how he gets away with that, but I would bet donuts to dollars that, because I got donuts, I don't have any dollars, that there's no way Mayweather doesn't need a belt. Mayweather doesn't need to fight for a belt. This fight means, to have that belt there means nothing for Mayweather, or the draw, or the buying potential, or the pay-per-view. I mean, Livegate, it means nothing. Floyd, that's one thing I like about Floyd. He's proven that belts mean nothing. People will pay to see Floyd Mayweather, whether they like him or not, regardless if there's a belt or not. And for Oscar De La Hoya to come out and say that this will clearly define the best 154-pounder in the world is kind of a joke to me. And I'll tell you why. The reason why it's a joke to me is because, first of all, Floyd Mayweather, although he's fought at that weight once before against Oscar, how can you say that? If Floyd beats, are we saying that Miguel Cotto is the best one out there? Maybe. I don't know. I'm just hypothetically. I think Floyd is in a different class. When you look at Floyd Mayweather, I don't think people are going to look at him, if he beats Cotto, I don't think they're going to look at him as a super middleweight champ. As a junior middleweight champ. I think they're just going to look at him as a world champion. And I don't think that, who knows if he even stays at that division. So I don't know, man. Did Oscar De La Hoya and Golden Boy Promotions really think that they needed to have the WBC Diamond Studded Super Mongoose Super Championship belt on the line to help sell anything? They had to, by far, the biggest draw. You got Mayweather, Pacquiao, and Cotto's the next guy. This fight between Mayweather and Cotto is a huge draw. They don't even have to have a belt. They could be fighting for a matchstick, and they're going to get a good draw. They're going to get a good live gate. They're going to get a good pay-per-view audience. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And again, I take it as an insult to our intelligence, our collective intelligence as being boxing fans. Why do we have to deal with this? Why do we have to deal with the same old crap at weigh-ins and press conferences? I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. Push you, push me, smack you here, chew your ear. Come on, man. Come on. It's kind of a joke. Pierre Oliver Cote, his opponent, was finally announced. His fight's taking place on May 20th. He's going to be on the undercard of Carl Froch and Lucien Boutte. And now he's going to be taking on Mark Lloyd. Mark Lloyd is 15 wins, 5 losses, and 3 knockouts. And this is going to be Cote's 19th professional fight. He's 18-0 with 12 knockouts. So we'll see what happens on that. The co-main event on that card, FYI, is Carl Frampton, 13-0 with 9 knockouts, putting his Commonwealth title on the line against I don't know who he's fighting, but I know it's Eric Oching, John Ryder, Ryan Ashton, and Scotty Cardle. They're all on the card too against TBAs, and you know how tough TBA can be. He's a badass. And one last thing, this is a really good fight when I heard this, because these guys may not have perfect records, but in the bantamweight division, Leo Santa Cruz and Vusi Malinga are going to be fighting for a vacant belt, and we'll keep you posted on that one. It looks like the fight should be on May 26th, and we'll see what happens. They have 3 dates in mind. May 26th is the first one, but they're also looking at June 23rd or June 29th, all this potential dates. The bantamweight title that they're fighting for is the IBF version. It was vacated when Abner Mares walked away from that one to pursue Eric Morale for his 122-pound belt. Hey, listen, I got to switch gears here because we got a special treat for you. Former world champion Cory Spinks is going to be with us in a couple seconds.
The undisputed heavyweight champion of Boxing Talk Radio with no worthy contenders. It's Talking Boxing with Billy C.
And we're back. You are listening to the Talking Boxing with Billy C radio show. You're watching us on the Fight Now television channel. What? You don't have the Fight Now television channel yet? You got to call your local television provider and tell them that you want Fight Now. Add it to your sports channel lineup right now. It's that simple. Pick up the phone and call whoever you're paying your bill to every month and tell them you want Fight Now right now. For all the information about the channel, you can find it right on their website, www.fightnow.com. And don't forget, every night is Fight Night on Fight Now, 10 p.m. Eastern Time. We show a brand new fight, so check it all out, www.fightnow.com. Speaking of now, joining us, former world junior middleweight champion, Cory Spinks. What's up, Cory? Cory, you there?
All right, Anthony, I'll put Cory on back. Hello.
Hey, Cory, how you doing, man? Glad you could join us this morning.
Pleasure.
Hey, listen, you're all scheduled for your next fight. It's going to be the rematch, man, against K9 Bundrich. Basically, he's, from what I understand, he's holding on to your title till that fight. Tell us about that fight coming up.
It's a very important fight to me, and taking it very, very serious. Well, I'm taking every fight from then now on very serious, and I'm just hoping, everything's going on, and we can get it on.
Now, let me ask you a question. Obviously, you did fight one time for the middleweight crown and everything else, but in your last fight that you fought in January, it looked like you were at a really comfortable weight at about 151.5 pounds. Is that going to be your game plan going into the fight against K9? Are you going to come in a little lower than you were the first time? I mean, you were right around the same, but I'm just curious to know how you feel at that weight versus being closer to the 154-pound limit.
Well, I felt great. That's a comfortable weight for me, 154. So, but I ended up coming in at 151. So, but I felt real great. Had a real good camp. Nice diet and everything. Everything is in order on my end. So, it's no turning back. We moving straight forward.
Now, are you going in with a different game plan? I mean, obviously, the last time you fought K9, you lost your title. Things didn't turn out the way you want. Did you pinpoint what you feel happened? And are you looking at this training camp any differently? Are you making any adjustments? What are you doing?
See, a lot of people don't know I have Crohn's, and I had a flare up like a week before the fight. And when it flares up, you really be out for like at least about 2 months, and I was trying to get it together before the fight. I shouldn't even fought, but how Eve boxers are. But to each his own. I'm not taking away from Bundrich because he did what he's supposed to do. I was the stupid one to get in there while I was sick and everything because I couldn't really move. I couldn't move because it affects your limbs and your muscles and everything, and couldn't really punch, and I wasn't Cory Spinks, but he rolled off that, at a high, thinking that it's me, and like I'm just done, but I didn't tell people what was really wrong with me. But we got all that in order. There won't be a problem this time, so. He will get the full-blown Cory Spinks, and he won't be able to handle it.
Well, it sounds like he's going to be. It sounds like he's going to be in a little trouble. Speaking of your name, Spinks, let me ask you a question, and I've been dying to ask you this. Do you think that by being involved with having a family name of such a prominent boxing fraternity, so to speak, that it made your pro career easier or harder?
It made it harder. To tell you the truth, it made it harder because I had a lot of expectations to live up to. I know I have the last name, but I also have to show that I have the talent that my dad and uncle had, and I think I have a little bit of both. I have my uncle elusiveness and my daddy big heart. Because I'm not scared to fight anyone. So. I think I've proven that, and I didn't have a silver spoon for my career. That it made it tough for me.
Well, I tell you, every time I talk to your pops, and he's going to be coming back out for he got inducted in our Hall of Fame last year, and he's going to be coming out again in November. Every time I talk to him about you, his eyes light up, man. He's always thinking positive and stuff, and I know that he's got to be a good influence for you when you're coming up to a big fight like this. We take every fight serious. My dad is he's in my corner, so there ain't do nothing but extra
I can't wait to this fight. You know, I'm very eager and very determined and been waiting for it. You know, kept my mouth closed after, you know, the fight. You know, people not thinking I wanted to get right back in there, but no, I had to fix other things as far as Cory Spinks goes. You know what I'm saying? And now the things are fixed. Everything's in order. I got the whole team together, and you know, it's like I'm blessed, you know, and everything has been going very, very well, and I can't wait, man. I can't wait till this dude see the full Spinks Jinx in action. You know, I can't wait.
One quick question, man. Assuming everything goes all right, Cory, on the 23rd, you come out of there with a W, you get your title back. Do you have anything in your plans? I know you're not looking past the fight. I know that, and I'm not suggesting that at all. But
see, that's something I don't do. It's like, you know, some boxers are superstitious, so I don't do that. So I don't like to jinx it as I first say. You know, so I just look for the task at hand. If anybody I'm fighting, I don't like to, you know, speak on anything beyond that.
Well, that's good, man. Put the Spinks jinx on them. Don't put it on yourself, right?
Right.
All right, my man. Good luck on the 23rd. Make sure you get a hold of us again. We'd love to have you back on after you take care of business on the 23rd, all right?
Oh, for sure, man. You can contact me anytime, man.
All right, brother.
All right.
Good luck on the 23rd. That was Cory Spinks, and I tell you, man, I tell you, he seems real focused. He can't wait to get in the ring, and you know, we're at least a month and a half, 2 months away from that fight. So it's scheduled for June 23rd, and I'm looking forward to seeing that one. He's going to get a shot back at the IBF junior middleweight title. That, like they put it, you know, K9's borrowing Cory's title. So we'll see what happens on the 23rd. I got to take a break, and we'll be right back.
The 2012 Summer Olympic Games unfold in 5 months in London. The honor and the history of playing host goes back a long way. How long? That's next on Sports Shorts with me, the Sports Princess.
This Your Family Today tip is brought to you by Stouffer's, helping bring your family together with wholesome dinner options, even on the busiest of nights. Find dinner table ideas to bring your family together at letsfixdinner.com. To get kids involved in dinnertime conversation, ask specific questions, not broad ones. Instead of what happened today at school, try what was the best thing that happened today. The more specific you are, the more they'll have to say. For more tips like these, visit us at parenthood.com/yourfamilytoday.
Legend has it that the Olympics go back to Hercules, but let's leave Greek mythology out of it. The modern games opened in 1896. Since Athens couldn't afford to put them on, a businessman ponied up the coin. Pole vaulting, weightlifting, shot put, and swimming, few of the handful of events. Since those days, some of the original sports remain. Others come and go, depending on the whims of the International Olympic Committee. Australia, France, Germany, and China have hosted summer games, and this will be the third time for London. As for the winter games, the U.S. has hosted them 4 times since they started in 1924 in France, featuring sports like alpine cross-country skiing, figure skating, and such. Between the summer and the winter games, there are hundreds of sports and thousands of athletes. You never know what city is going to get a crack at hosting next. I'm the Sports Princess with Sports Shorts.
Now back to Talkin' Boxing with Billy C. He may not have an Excellence in Broadcasting award, but the night's still young.
And he's got martinis.
So you never know what may be by morning. It's Talkin' Boxing with Billy C.
Talking Boxing with Billy C.
The one, the only, Don King.
Makes me feel good, Billy, to have you, the number 1 show in the country, Talking Boxing with Billy. So I invite each and every American that's listening to this great show to tune in, because we want you to be there with Billy and me.
St. Jimmy's coming down across the alleyway, up on the boulevard like a zip gun on parade. Lights up a silhouette, he's disappointed net, coming at you on the count of 1.
And we're back. Don't you hate it when the musical, the air drum, and next thing I know, you'll be playing like the air guitar. You know, there's nothing worse than a fat old Italian guy trying to do musical stuff. I don't even. Music is not my thing, so I don't know. But anyway, you're listening to the Talk Box with Billy C Radio Show. You're watching this on the Fight Now television channel, and it's time for you to call your local television provider and tell them that you want the Fight Now channel added to your sports channel lineup. It's that simple. Pick up the phone and call them. All the information about the channel can be found on their website, as well as what's going to be shown tonight, because every night is Fight Night on Fight Now, 10 p.m. Eastern Time. Check out the website, www.fightnow.com. And speaking of now, joining us, our very own Amy Green. Good morning, Amy.
Good morning, Billy. How are you?
Oh, not too bad, not too bad. You're alive and well. I got a call. I didn't even know. What happened, man? You guys get some kind of big tornado or something in Oklahoma? What's the deal?
It's tornado season in Oklahoma, and from now until June, we're gonna be plagued by severe weather. But evidently, north of me, closer to Kansas and everything, there was really, really severe weather. And in Woodward, Oklahoma, I think 5 people were killed from the weather. But it's not been anything here, but really windy, really warm, and lots of rain. So for the most part, we're all right now.
You know, you say it's tornado season. Here, where I am, I look forward to fishing season. You know, I don't have to worry about tornado, although we did have a tornado here not that long ago. But anyway, we announced this morning that Chevelle, Fist of Steel Halbach, you've heard of her. She's going to be taking on Terry, the Road Warrior Blair, May 12th for the IFBA World Welterweight title in Tampa. We're going to be broadcasting that event live, and I'm looking forward to it. I know that we talked about this fight before because it had been scheduled earlier. Obviously this is a rescheduled event. What's your thoughts on this fight? Between these two fighters. Number one, it's a rematch, and also number two, what do you think it does for the sport? Because I'm thinking that maybe it can help women's boxing between a fight like this, and also the Olympics. What's your thoughts, real quick?
I think this is going to be an exciting fight. The first one was really exciting. It was televised on Fox Sports, and I think that they've got, they're fighting to fight. They're not fighting for, in addition to the title, they're fighting for the good of their sport and to prove what happens when people don't avoid each other and they just come out to fight. And I think it's going to be really good. It's going to start highlighting the women, which are going to be on display in the Olympics. But this fight can do nothing but good. But I think both people better be doubly prepared.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think they're both very hungry. I know Terry is. I know Terry's been training nonstop for this fight since it was announced the first time. So I think Chevy's in for a tough go. Before we get into some of your thoughts on the fights that took place this past weekend, you got some news you wanted to talk about, including your girl, Kalisha West. It always seems that every month you come on, either she's fighting or she's going to fight or something. Tell us about that one.
Kalisha West went down to Mexico and retained her WBO bantamweight title with a majority decision over Claudia Lopez of Argentina. This fight was actually televised on Televisa and Box Latino, and Kalisha had to dig down and go after it in the later rounds and get the win. And she said that Lopez was very tough. She was a southpaw. She was very aggressive, and she was what they expected and more. So she didn't have a cakewalk. She went out of her comfort zone. She went from California to Mexico, brought back another win, and now she's looking forward to what's going on next.
Do you have any clue of what's going on next for her? I know she's one of these world champions that doesn't have that many fights, or at least now she's in double digits, but I think her first shot, she was just around 10 or 11 fights, right?
She did. I think she has probably going on 15 fights. I talked to her very briefly yesterday, and we texted after the fight, and she's going to stay working. She was real pleased. So was her father, Lana West, that this was televised, and she's just going to keep fighting and keep working and try to stay on the same goal as Chevelle is, and be there when everything breaks through for the women, and they might get a premium channel like HBO.
Well, sounds good to me. We're waiting for that too. I know there was another fight you wanted to talk about, right?
Actually, not a fight, but there could be one in the future. I spoke with Janine Garside, who took a little time off to have a baby. Now she's got a little son named Wyatt James that was born on April 7th. But always in the back of Janine's mind is competing. And recently, Jelena Madrinovich beat Lindsey Garbott and took a couple of titles that had been Janine's during her pregnancy recess. And she said, I know where these titles are so I can go and get them very easily when the time comes. She said, so I know where Jelena is. That's a fight that I've wanted to have happen for a long time, so I know where the titles are when I want to go get them. I've looked forward to fighting her, she said. And after having this baby, her pain threshold is even greater, so you can expect Janine to be looking for a Canada war with Jelena Madrinovich, and that's something I think would be a really, really good fight. I followed Janine Garside since her third fight, and she's an amazing warrior. Now she's just looking forward to, getting her titles back in her hands, and she'll make it exciting.
That Jolene Marjanovic, or however she just
Jelena.
It's what's her name? Marjanovic, her last name.
Jelena Marjanovic.
Yeah, Marjanovic. Now she just fought
Lindsey Garbott.
Right. I always get Garbott and Garside confused. They're both from Canada, I think. But anyway, I called the action for the first Marjanovic and Garbott fight, and I'll tell you, I was surprised that Garbott went in and actually lost the way she did. I mean, she just looked so unbeatable to me in the previous two fights. Any thoughts on that one?
She was defeated by Janine for a TKO. She went a distance and beat Marjanovic, and now she was beat early in the fight. I don't know if she's just, if Marjanovic after a fight has figured Garbott out. Garbott's very aggressive. She's very, very tough. I've watched her fight Melissa Hernandez to a draw, and that was a real physical. I mean, this girl, Lindsey Garbott, comes to fight, but she's, she may have been figured out by Jelena, but you can't ever count Lindsey out. She's very tough, and I think Janine's a little bit tougher because she stopped her, but, we'll just have to see what goes on. She's not done by any means.
Well, you have any other, before we shift gears, you got any women's boxing news you want to, let loose?
Couple of little interesting things. Miriam Lamar, Saturday, April 14th, had an MMA fight. It was a pro debut, her first time to fight anybody since facing Chevelle Hall back in November. Now, she won by a unanimous decision in an MMA bout, which is her pro debut. Now, I saw this result on Women's MMA Today, and it referred to Lamar as former world boxing champion. So I don't know if she's done with boxing and going to cross over to MMA or whatever, but that was just a reference that I caught yesterday. And then it looks like Sophie Mathis and Cecilia Brækhus will, according to a press release I saw, they'll fight April 21st, which was postponed from March 17th after either of them was ill with tonsillitis or something. I don't see that on BoxRec, but every press release I have seen says they will finally fight on April 21st, and that should be an interesting fight.
You saw a press release that said that?
I saw a press release that said they had been rescheduled for April 21st.
When did that go out?
That was an older press release. It was a few weeks ago.
Yeah,
I just found it when I was looking for some information. They had originally been scheduled to fight on March 17th, and I believe it was Brækhus had tonsillitis, and they had to reschedule because, of course, she was ill and couldn't train properly or finish her training or fight even, with something like that going on, taking a regimen of antibiotics, and they have allegedly rescheduled for April 21st, which I see nothing supporting that.
Yeah, I don't think that fight was ever signed, sealed, and delivered, to be honest with you, because and Sophie Mathis was contractually, although it expired, but they were contractually tied to a rematch with Holly Holm. So we'll have to wait and see on that one. But I did hear that they were going to fight, and I, too, have never seen it officially announced. I know that they talked about it once, and then I never saw another press release again on it. So if you do find some substance there, let me know. I'd love to hear about that.
Yeah, and I think, speaking of Holly Holm, I think she's got wedding bells in her future, so once she gets over that little hurdle, I look for her to be back. I'm not sure what else she's going to have going on, because Lamar really pulled off a huge upset, and that was a brutal loss for Holly. So we'll see what she comes back like.
You mean Mathis, the Mathis?
I'm sorry, yeah. When
Now
Mathis
Lamar
beat Holly Holm on her hometown, in her own ring and everything. That was a brutal loss for Holly. So we'll see how she comes back after she gets used to matrimony and a little lifestyle change and everything right there. We'll see what she has. We'll see what she's going to do after that.
I don't think she's. I think that her she's going to probably have that one fight, the rematch with Mathis, and maybe call it a day. That's what I think with Holly. She's got so much going on for her. Why drag it on too long? As far as my comment about Lamari and MMA, the truth of the matter is unless she gave up that title, it hasn't been. That was a vacant title that she fought and robbed Chevelle Halbach under. We wanted a rematch for the longest time with that fight, because you talk to anybody that was there, and they'll tell you that Chevelle should have won that fight, including the referee. When I talked to him, I was like shocked at what he was saying. So it would be disappointing to see that she's running away into another sport. But I know that you wanted to talk a little about the fights from this past weekend, and I think you had some comments on Bam Bam Rios' fight, or was it the Juan Manuel Marquez one?
Really, more of the Rios fight than anything. I mean, I'm really not sure what some of these judges were seeing to give him even a split decision. I mean, to me, he lost this fight all the way around. That was bigger than a Christmas present. That was that was an Easter basket a week late for him. And the last two fights he's failed on the scales. He didn't even have a 3 or 4 good rounds in this fight. And still, he says in his post-fight comments, he didn't feel like his opponent came to fight. What delusions is he laboring under?
Yeah, I think he's become a loudmouth. Well, he's always was a loudmouth, but I think he's fallen short. I think he's a loudmouth that has fallen short. I mean, that's really what's happened. He couldn't make the weight, like you mentioned, in the last 2 fights. It was a lackluster performance. His last fight was a lackluster performance until he came and won by knockout, which has everyone forgetting about it. But he just was dead in that fight on Saturday. I knew that fight was going to be scored closer, and I could see it being closer than it was, than a lot of people thought it was. I knew it was going to be closer on the scorecards, because I felt that Abril had that fight in his hands, but he only was throwing 1 and 2, or I should say 2 and 3 punch combinations max. He wasn't really getting in any kind of exchange where he would throw 4 and 5 punch combinations, which I think would have won him the fight.
It would have won him a little bit more decisively, but and I don't think he was afraid of Rios or anything, because obviously, he didn't bring much. He didn't bring much or make him feel much. But that's a disgusting output by Brandon Rios, and I'm a little bit shocked at the Nevada judges, who I'd always held in a little bit higher esteem than that. I think that somebody needs to take Rios to task over this. I don't think he needs to be disciplined, like suspended or anything like that. But he needs to be made to perform and to perform well, because this is it's a black eye, and he's talking about being a champion and being wonderful, and you know how he runs off at the mouth. So I don't see right now he's all mouth and a failure.
Yeah, well, I don't know about a failure. I mean, it's just
he failed Saturday.
No, he may have failed. Listen, he may have failed to the naked eye, but when at the end of the day, he didn't fail. He got the W. He's going to move on to a bigger payday. He's going to blame the weight forever. I just see a one-dimensional fighter. And I think what separates, and I'm a huge fan of Bam Bam Rios, but I think what separates a good fighter from an exceptionally good fighter, an elite fighter, is the ability to make adjustments, to be more than just a one-trick pony. And I think Bam Bam Rios has shown us that he's a one-trick pony. I mean, he can only do one thing. He can come at you and wail away. It's funny. Everybody's critical of Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., and a lot of people think that, he's not very talented. But I see a guy that's improving, and I see a guy that's adding to his arsenal, and I think he's coming along better than a Bam Bam Rios.
Bam Bam Rios, you think, is going to be headed for bigger paydays after this. He needs to be headed to a bigger weight class, and then that will define everything. Making weight for one, adjusting to a new weight class for two, that would be something to see. That would be something to really prove what's going on with him. And if he can perform capably and back up his mouth in a bigger weight class, then let's let him have it. I'd like to see him fight Adrian Broner. To me, that might be kind of interesting. Or I've always said I'd like to put him in with Victor Ortiz.
Who? Brandon Rios with Victor Ortiz?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There's no love lost there.
No, but Victor Ortiz is too big for Brandon Rios at this point. You never know down the road, but
well, you never know. Obviously, Brandon Rios was too big for his current weight class. Move him up a notch and see if he can prove himself like to the promise that he's initially been shown. And as for Chavez Jr., it's taken Freddie Roach a long time, or anybody else that's worked with him, a long time to even get him where he's starting to be passable. He's really failed to impress me yet. A huge knockout win over Peter Manfredo didn't put him to me up in the same league as somebody like even. He's not impressive.
Let me ask you this: Juan Manuel Marquez fought a fight on Saturday, and I thought he started off slow and finished really strong. I don't know how his opponent didn't go down in that fight. I mean, I give Fenchego all the credit in the world for staying on his feet. But, to be a little critical of Juan Manuel Marquez, I thought he looked slow. I thought he looked too bulky. He was walking with his, like the drying deodorant under the armpit walk back to his corner in between rounds. I mean, he looked top heavy. Yes, he looked like he was in great shape, but from the waist up, he looked like a junior welterweight. From the waist down, he looked like a flyweight. His legs are still small and skinny. I don't know. I think it's time. I don't know if he should pursue a fight against a guy like Rios or something. I think he should look for his farewell fight and walk away at this point. I mean, he's going to be a Hall of Famer, no question about it. But what do you think of his performance, and do you think he looks good at the junior welterweight?
I tuned out after Rios, so I can't say anything other than I know that he won, but he was getting a lot of criticism for it. He's just. I don't think there's any sense in revisiting anything with Manny Pacquiao. I think that may have been his swan song. He may have one big, huge, epic battle left in him, but maybe it's time for him to quit. I don't think a bigger weight class is a good idea for him. I think maybe he's got nothing to regret if he ends everything now. He may still have some good fights in him, but all the criticism I'm reading, he needs to think about some sort of different plan. I mean, he's just. I don't know. I think Pacquiao was a good performance for him. He stymied him. He certainly didn't make him look. He certainly made Manny Pacquiao look very bad. But I don't know. He needs to reevaluate and maybe have some better choices or something. He won, yeah, but like you said, it sounds like he looked pretty odd and a little out of sorts. But I don't know. Let's revisit him and maybe he'll look better.
Well. I know we're running out of time, but let me ask you, there's two fights coming up this weekend that I'm curious to know your thoughts on. Number one is Abner Maris against Eric Morale. It is for Morale's title. What do you think in this fight?
I'm going to be partial with Abner Maris.
You like Maris? He's done nothing but win. You know, he's moving up in weight, but he's done nothing but win. He's a tough fighter. So is Morale. There's no question. I love the fight. I love the matchup. And that's on Showtime on Saturday. But Friday night, Jermaine Taylor comes back. He's fighting an undefeated Caleb Truax. You have any thoughts on that one?
Like Jermaine Taylor, I think he's making a careful, cautious comeback. He's got his original people in his corner with him. And I'm going to say Jermaine could win.
Yeah, Jermaine. Truax is a kid that's undefeated and everything, and I'm not taking anything away from him, but he hasn't fought anybody that's tough. I mean, well, I shouldn't say that. They beat my butt, but compared to the level of opposition that Taylor's faced, so I think this is
it's definitely an amazing test for Truax, and it's something that's going to further, plot the chart of Taylor's comeback if he can get back to the level he was where he's fighting, Hopkins and the Winky Wrights and the Kelly Pavliks. It's just a kind of it's a measure to see where Jermaine is. He had he had no success in the Super 6 tournament, and had some tough losses. I think he had some personal issues that may have aided in all of this, but it's going to be, like I said, it's going to be a good marker to see where he is and if he can make a steady rise back to where he was, because he was a great champion.
No, I think this is a great fight for Jermaine Taylor. I think that the progression that they're feeding him in terms of the level of opposition is perfect for his redevelopment. So I think it's good. I'm one of the guys that thinks that a win here is going to lead him to another fight with Kelly Pavlik. I think that there's interest there, and I think that not only will people want to see it, I think that the winner of a Taylor Pavlik fight would set themselves up for a really nice payday. So I think that's.
I saw or heard a lot of talk back and forth this weekend on the Billy C side about Pavlik and Chavez Jr. That could be a good Pavlik if he and Robert Garcia continue to click and he makes strides, personally and professionally, working with the camp there in California. I don't think that Chavez Jr. could withstand Pavlik's power, and I don't really think Chavez Jr. could dish anything out that could hurt Kelly Pavlik.
Oh, I don't know about that, Amy. I mean, this guy is comes into ring fight night 175, 180 pounds. He could definitely put a hurting on you. He punches. I mean, his body work is definitely good. I have not seen Kelly Pavlik throw his patented, which I thought he did the best in boxing when he was at his peak, a 1-2 combination, just a left followed by a right. He could pinpoint if you put a quarter on somebody's chest. I mean, he was very accurate and fluid, and I have not seen that from Kelly Pavlik since his demise, really. In his comeback, that has not come back, and I think he would need to have that in order to beat Chavez.
I think that he's working on that a little bit more. I did watch some tape of his recent fight where he did win, and I think he's plotting a cautious course, kind of like Jermaine Taylor is. Cameron Duncan's keeping Kelly Pavlik under the radar, and I think eventually and I hate this word, with some nurturing, if you can apply that to boxing, I think with some care and feeding and bringing him along, I think Kelly's going to return to the point that he was at, and I think I'm hoping he could be a pleasant surprise. Well, I've never had anything but high regard for Kelly. Always enjoyed him as a person and a fighter, and I think he's making the effort to get back to where he was.
Yeah, well, we'll see. Hey, Amy, before we let you go, I got to give you a shout out from the Philippines. I got a big fan of yours in the chat room right now. We call him Mac because I mess up his name all the time. It's Mackie Macula or Maculi, or I had it right the first time, but I call him Mac. He says he's dying to meet you. So do me a favor, would you drop this kid an email or something like that, or I'll have him get a hold of you and say hello to this guy, will you? Would you say hello on the air? Say hello, Mac from the Philippines. Go ahead.
Hey, Mac in the Philippines. How are you doing? Good morning. It's early here, but we're glad to have listeners. Appreciate your time and following us.
There you go, Nate. It's around 6 p.m. in the Philippines right now, and
well, it's about not that here.
He's busy at work, so he wanted me to give you a shout out and say hello to him. He's a former fighter, man. If you check out his, I know he's got a Facebook presence, but he looks like he could do some damage in the ring. So anyway, he wanted to make sure.
Currently fighting or just living in Manny Pacquiao world?
He's living in Manny Pacquiao world right now, but that's not his favorite fighter. His favorite fighter is Juan Manuel Marquez, so which I thought was pretty cool. But anyway, Amy, it was great having you on. We'll talk about that other thing a little later, and definitely give a shout out to my man Mac through Facebook or whatever you guys do with that stuff. You know what I mean?
You need to be a little more socially in tune as well. Stop being such a wallflower.
Hey, I want to congratulate you on the air. Amy is now in charge of, what's your official title? Special show guest administrator or something like that? She's going to be.
I don't know what you want me to call. I guess you could call me a booker.
she's our booker. She's going to be booking all of the guests for the show. So congratulations to you for that. And we're looking forward to some continuity finally. I mean, it was kind of crazy for me. So I'm hoping that you can. Handle that. As a matter of fact, I forwarded you a request this morning. So
I received that.
Good. All right, Amy, I'll talk to you later, all right?
All right, have a good day.
All right, take care. That's Amy Green, and she's giving us our monthly women's boxing report that she's on. And I tell you, I should have relayed to Amy what Mac just said, but I missed that. It didn't come up. He must have a slow machine. But anyway, drop Mac. If you email me, I'll send you Amy's email address, and you can do the. See, Mac, I come through. You ask me, so I've asked you to hook me up, and all you do is he's surrounded by these gorgeous women in his office, and you think he sends me any email addresses or photos or any kind of correspondence? No. He asked me one time. And I get it right on the air, live, right instantly. Well, that's because, that's the kind of guy I am.
Wake up. It's time for the...
It's too early for a trivia question.
And I'm kind of late, too. It's too early for a trivia question. Question is being brought to us by Star Boxing and their May 18th event, which is the main event on ESPN Friday Night Fights. Ray Serrano against Kareem Mayfield. Check it out, www.billycboxing.com. Click the Star Boxing poster for tickets on that. The question is, who won the most fights between 1930 and 1939? Who won the most fights between 1930 and 1939? What's on the line is the Holyfield Way. It's a book. It's yours if you are the first one to email me, Billy at TalkinBoxing. That's TalkinBoxing. TalkinBoxing.com. Who won the most fights between 1930 and 1939? Good luck with that one. It's been hanging around. We need a winner.
This day in boxing history.
And finally, this day in boxing history is being brought to us by Campanaro and Tomkovich. If you need a lawyer, use the ones that keep me out of trouble. That's Campanaro and Tomkovich. 845-221-4099. On this day, April 17th, back in 1900. No, it wasn't Dave Allen's 21st birthday, because I know that took place also on this day in 1900. But on this day in 1900, Matty Matthews knocks out mysterious Billy Smith in the 19th round to win the world welterweight title, and that took place on this day, April 17th, in 1900 in New York City. Hey, man, that concludes our show for today. One thing to remember. Make sure you tune in tomorrow morning, same bat time, same bat channel. There's only one channel, the Fight Now channel. Call your local television provider right now and tell them you want the Fight Now channel added to your sports channel lineup. It's that simple. Check out their website for all the information, www.fightnow.com. See you all tomorrow. Ciao, baby.